Hola mi gente! You are listening to Dancing into Parenthood, the Entre la Familia series, where Latinos get to hear our stories about raising our children with special needs. I am your host, Dr. Divina Lopez, board certified pediatrician for over 10 years and mom to a little boy with autism and ADHD. My motherhood journey has been my greatest inspiration to creating this podcast because when it comes to our community, we have unique circumstances that we keep entre la familia that we need to share and no longer keep quiet about. On this show, I will give you the tools, information, and strategies to raising a happy and healthy human being. Each week, I am connecting you with other Latino families who have generously shared their personal journeys and struggles so that you can have clarity and insight on what it takes to raise such a special child. Before the episode starts, I want to remind you to follow us on social so you don't miss out on all the support I love to share with you. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok at Dr. Divina Lopez, and any place that you hang out on the internet. Also, I can't wait to start the parent sessions. We're starting group parent sessions, and I want you to be there. I want to help guide you if you are struggling with parenthood, if you don't have support, if you're insecure about the choices that you're making for your child, if you just want to get it right for your child, then I encourage you to join the 12-week program where we will meet once a week and I will teach you how to advocate for your child, how to navigate the medical system, how to navigate the educational system, where to find your support system, and how to build healthy family relationships so we can break those toxic cycles, create boundaries with family members, and also learn to love ourselves through it all. All right, mi gente, I want to see you there. So make sure that you go to my website and that you drop your email in there. That way you are the first to know when the group sessions start. Now let's get into the episode. Hello and welcome back to Dancing into Parenthood. In today's episode, I have a really important message that I want to share with parents and educators and really anyone who works with children, but specifically children with autism. So over the years of going through the school system and the medical system with my child, there is a specific theme that I want to remind educators, medical professionals, and especially parents about. And it's that you could never give up on your child. Children that may have delays early on are able to make progress throughout their lives. Children with autism and ADHD and many other conditions may start out significantly delayed in many areas of their life, right? They may have some cognitive delays. They may have some social emotional delays, speech delays, fine motor delays, gross motor delays. And we typically see this, and this is what leads us to perhaps having concerns about our children or going through an evaluation, all of those things. But what I want to remind you again and again and again and again and again is that even on those days where you may feel the most defeated, where you may feel that nothing is happening, don't you dare sleep on your child or the children that you are working with or the children that you are supporting, because these children are so capable at any moment to start reaching milestones, making progress, doing things that you would have never thought that they would have been capable of doing in their lives. It may take years for these things to happen, but don't you dare give up on your child. Don't you dare give up on the work that you are doing day in and day out. And I know that it feels so tedious sometimes. I know that it feels impossible sometimes. I know that you have lost faith that your child is going to make progress in their lives and reach certain milestones. I know that because I've been there. I have been in those same exact thoughts mentally. I have felt that same frustration. I have wondered time and time again whether or not my child was going to reach a certain goal, be able to keep up with his peers. And that's another thing. Let me just also remind you that we should not be comparing a neurodivergent child to a neurotypical child and expect them to keep up at the same level as that other child. Please stop comparing your child to a neurotypical child who is developing in a whole different way. Have some grace for yourself and for your child and allow them to reach their milestones on their time. Don't stop services. Don't think that it's not working. Have faith in your child. Have faith in God and divine timing, because your child will make progress. It's going to look different for your child. And I also want to remind pediatricians and any medical professionals who have studied a Denver developmental scale that things look differently for our neurodiverse children. And then perhaps we need to have a new scale made for them. Perhaps we need to throw out the Denver developmental scale when it comes to neurodivergent children, and we need to stop rating them against that. And perhaps what we need to do is establish the thoughts that are going to be helpful for our children and the families that we serve. I think that if we can give hope and visualize our children doing the very things that we never thought that they could do, then perhaps we are giving a chance to our children to grow and flourish and reach the goals that we have placed for them. Make goals reachable for them, not impossible for them. And that is why, again, I just want to go back to the comparison game, because a lot of those goals were established off of what neurotypical children were doing. I don't think that it's fair to expect your neurodivergent child to perform at the level of a neurotypical child. Their brains are growing every single day. Give a chance to their brain to grow, all right? It may take many years for your child to reach a goal that you see their neurotypical peer performing at, but that doesn't mean that your child won't get there. And I don't want you to give up on your child because of that, because you have been programmed yourself to believe that a child at 11 years old should be doing and performing where their 11-year-old neurotypical peer is performing at. Educators, please don't get discouraged and do not feel like these children are holding you back, because they learn at a different level, because they process things at a different level. A lot of neurodivergent children have slow processing speeds, but they do not have deficit in their intelligence. They will get there, but we have to allow them the time to get there. And by pressuring them and by putting these crazy expectations on them, you are making them feel less than, and you are starting to create a narrative for them that they cannot do something, that they will not get there, that they are behind, and that they will not catch up. And they start to really believe that something is wrong with them, when there is absolutely nothing wrong with them. They are just developing on their own timeline, and we have to allow them that time to grow and develop. And in that time, that means we need to nurture them. We need to provide positivity for them. We need to affirm to them that they can and they will on their time, and it's okay. Yes, we absolutely need to challenge our children. I'm not saying that you let them get away with laziness or doing nothing. Absolutely not. But sometimes what we need to do is get really creative with the way that they learn, right? With the way that we expect them to make progress. Maybe it's our thinking that needs to change. Maybe we need to make things more fun for them. Maybe we need to figure out what is our child's special interest and start to change the way we teach according to that special interest. Maybe we need to explain to them why these things are important and why we do certain things in life and why school does certain things. And maybe then they'll start to understand. Maybe we need to break things down into really small steps for them that feel attainable, and then celebrate every little step as they get there, because it takes them a whole lot of work to get there, and we should not ignore that. Please, I'm telling you from my own experience, it breaks my heart when my son says, "Oh, Mom, I thought that you were angry at me," or "I thought that you had given up on me," or "I thought that you didn't think I could do this," and I thought that, whatever negative story he made up in his head. And I had to reassure him, no, I am so proud of all the progress that you have made. And I have to constantly tell him, do you remember where we were at the beginning of this school year? Do you remember that in the beginning of this school year, you were not writing at this speed? Do you remember at the beginning of the school year, you didn't even know how to take down notes? Do you remember at the beginning of the school year, you could not perform in the way that you're performing now? And that's because he himself is comparing himself to other children that he sees, right? He thinks that they could do everything faster than him. He thinks that they understand things better than him. And I have to constantly remind him that his brain is amazing, that God gave him a different kind of brain, but that it works probably even better than mine. And when I reassure him in that way, when I affirm to him his greatness, then he rises to the occasion. So we constantly have to be cheerleaders, supporters, nurturers for our children. And the only way you're going to be able to do that, the only way that you're going to be able to show up for your child in that way, is if you believe in yourself. If you take the time to nurture yourself. If you change the narrative in your head about yourself and how you were made as the perfect parent for this child and for this journey. And sometimes we really can get into our heads of like, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening in my family? I don't know how to do this. This is too challenging for me. This is too much work for me. And I know it is. I feel you in every way. I've asked all of those questions. I've wondered to God, like, how do you think that I'm capable of all of this when it feels impossible? When
when I don't find good programs for him, when I don't find good support for him, when I feel like I can't find the right school for him. I know what you're going through. I know how challenging it is. I want you to keep in mind also that as these diagnoses are exploding and as people are learning more about them, there will be better support for them. There will be more funding for better schools and programs for them. And perhaps they don't exist right now, but they are coming down the line. Someone asked me the other day, like, oh, what about college? And I said, you know what? I'm not worried about college. I'm not worried about academics. I'm not worried about any of those things right now. I only worry about learning how to be more present in my child's life every single day, because if I don't invest in my child in that way, there won't be a tomorrow. There won't be a college. There won't even be a high school. I don't know. I'm not worried about that right now. I'm worried about today. I'm worried about doing my best today. And let me take the word worried out, because I'm learning that worry and fear are not energies that I want to invest in. I want to invest in my faith in God. I want to invest in my affirming that God gave me everything that I need in order to be the parent that my child needs. That's where I want to keep my focus, my mental thoughts. I ask for clarity from God all the time. I ask that God lead the way and that I know how to follow. I ask for people to be open-minded. I ask God to give me the right words to say to the people that I need to speak to. I ask God to help me to learn how to advocate. I ask for those gifts in order to help my child, to keep me in a regulated state so that I can gently parent my child and nurture him so that we can reach goals. And this is one of the most important messages that I could share with you. And while I was in this energy, I wanted to record this podcast episode for you, because this may be the most important podcast episode that you will ever listen to. And I want you to listen to it over and over again. When the negative thoughts creep into your mind, when you stop believing that your child is going to reach a goal, when you're feeling defeated, when you're feeling frustrated, when you've had about enough and you feel like you can't even take one more day of this, I want you to listen to this podcast. Save it and download it and share it with your friends and your family, because this sort of words and encouragement, and this is everything. If you can move forward in this sort of energy, you will do amazing things with your child. Again, I'm going to reiterate, never sleep on your kid. You have to be their cheerleader. You have to be their backbone. You have to be their advocate. You are the perfect parent for your child, and you have to start believing that. And yes, you have to challenge your child, but not to the point where they are anxious or stressed out or feeling less than. You don't want them to feel like they are not worthy of being here. And I know that many children with autism feel that way. I know that because many of them are depressed. I know that because many of them have committed suicide. And it breaks my heart because they feel like they don't belong here. They don't feel accepted by anybody here. They don't feel included in this world. They don't find spaces that include them in this world. And you don't want to be another source of where they feel that discomfort. You want to be the one who comforts them. You want to be the one that they can run to, come to. And I know that sometimes you don't have the capacity for that. So give yourself whatever it is that you need. The downtime, the rest, the relaxation, the sleep. in order to keep moving forward. Build your team, find your support. Who is your village, right? We need to know who are the key players in your life that are going to fill you up. My source is God. I don't know what you call it, but my source is God. I know what I need to do. I need to journal. I need to spend time with God. I need to be alone with God. I need to talk to God. I need to fill myself up through God. I need to teach my child to do the same, because I'm not going to be here for all his life. And I need to know that he knows where to go when life gets challenging, when life gets hard for him, when life feels impossible for him. I love you. I'm sending you a lot of love and light and a lot of magic. And don't you dare not for 1 second ever sleep on your child.
If you enjoyed this episode, share it with your family and friends. Also, join me for my group parenting sessions. I want you to be the first to know, so go directly to my website at www.drdivinalopez.com and share your email with me. That way you'll be the first to know when sessions start. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Dancing into Parenthood and on TikTok at Dr. Divina Lopez. Also, if you like this podcast, please subscribe. That way you always know when a new episode drops. I love you. Bye.
Please keep in mind that all advice given in this podcast is general information. To understand your specific situation, you must consult with your pediatrician.